I'll be honest, I have a slight problem on my hands. I don't know what bag I should be taking with me to Italy. This seems so trivial, I'll be honest. In the grand scheme of things, in this vast universe that we call our home, I'm worrying about this. I've talked about this bag in detail before. This here is the Peak Design 30-liter travel bag with the medium camera cube. This has been my go-to bag. I love this bag. I want to take this bag because it's done such a good job when traveling to different places, whether that's traveling back home for the holidays or traveling to Mexico. The one thing that I've been thinking a lot about though is I don't necessarily want to carry this big bag around. It's not on the list of priorities because it's 30 liters, it's big, it may not be able to go into certain places. Understandable. So where do we go from here? And more importantly, what is the bag options that we have and what should we be looking at to really just get our gear over there and then being able to adventure without too much hassle. So knowing that, we'll get rid of the medium camera cube, and that leaves us with the next question. What bag should I be thinking about for a day bag when exploring different Italian cities? I'm gonna be seeing a lot of different Italian cities. Rome, Florence, Lake Como, Assisi, Cinque Terre, and then I'm gonna be back in Rome. But what bag should I be considering? I don't wanna carry this around. This is too much. Just even with the camera cube out, still too big. Don't want it. This is gonna have to be at the hotel as the home base, which leaves us considering smaller bags. Now, I've looked at a few options, and initially, my first thought was something like the Peak Design 6-liter Sling. I also have thought about the Nomatic Peter McKinnon Sling. About the same size, different shape, different features. And then comes the Peak Design 10-liter Sling. Now, I'll be the first one to say, looking at these bags here, looking at the specs, trying to figure out what would match my needs, I've spent way too much time doing this over the last week. And initially, I was leaning towards the 6-liter Sling. The 6-liter Sling is small, it's relatively incognito, it can maybe fit all my gear, I don't need to use the camera cube, the medium camera cube in my travel bag. Perfect, this could work. Unfortunately, I feel like Peak Design lied to me. Now, when you go on their website and you look at the brochure, you're like, oh yeah, it can fit like the camera body and 2 lenses, and yeah, this could work great. What they don't tell you, I don't know if you can see that right now, but it's stuffed. It is absolutely crowded. So it's like when we start pulling gear out, let's move the Nomatic out of the way, and the 10-liter, when I start pulling things out, there's the A7 IV, I got a camera strap, I got a 16 to 35 f4, Rode video mic, filters for the Osmo, which I'm talking into. So that would be on this table. Battery for the A7 IV, battery, second battery. And then we go into the front pouch where I have one ND, a second ND, and a step up. Polarizers and miscellaneous filters there. And the card wallet. That was all in this bag here, and it didn't even include camera strap or the Osmo, like I mentioned earlier. I don't know if this is like the appropriate option for 2 weeks in Italy. Considering that against the 8-liter Nomatic, this definitely doesn't fit. This bag, it all fits. It all fits with ease. Like, okay, camera goes in, lens goes in. We got the microphone, that's going in as well. We can take this, that goes in, that guy. And we are almost there. Grab a couple batteries. So no problem. It all fits really, really easy. It's all in the bag, and I still have a little bit of space. There's just one big problem. It's a pretty big bag. I want to find a day bag that's gonna allow me to just see these Italian spots without too much difficulty. It still feels a bit biggish, even though at the same time it's like half a pound heavier than this bag. I mean, yeah, it's 8 centimeters. I think it's 8 centimeters wider. it's still bigger. Like, you can definitely see the difference between the two bags. So here's the conundrum that I think that many of us have been in before. How do you approach something like this? Do you go for the smaller bag knowing you're gonna leave gear at home? Or do you go for the bigger bag knowing that you'll have the kit that you want? And granted, all I would really be doing if I went to the smaller 6-liter bag is taking a lens out. That is it. So the notion of like, oh, you can fit like 2 lenses in there, well, you can, but once we start thinking about other peripheral devices and the gear associated to create images, it gets a little tricky because it's like there is more gear associated to it beyond just the camera itself. Peak Design was honest. They said that it would be snug trying to fit everything into the 6-liter bag here, but at this point, I wish they were a little bit more honest about the size of a mirrorless body, because like, granted, I'm using an A7 IV. It's not my old Canon 5D3, which definitely would have not fit in this bag. No way in hell. It was just not gonna happen. That would have been staying at home for sure. So that would have been out immediately. But even with a mirrorless kit, it was still tight trying to get it into this. And even it's better with this guy. I'll be completely honest, it's better. The other thing I'm thinking about is just like, I want to protect my gear in general, both from pickpockers and from bad weather. So that's basically where I'm at in terms of trying to make a decision of what bag that I want to take to Italy. I don't know if I just want to make some sacrifices and take the 6-liter, or if I want to just like man up and take the 10. I know it's not that big of a difference, but for some reason it feels significant. I would love to hear your thoughts, especially the Peak Design community, of what bag you would opt for if you were going to be spending 2 weeks in Europe walking around every single day. The 6-liter sling or the 10-liter sling. Or option C, it could be the Nomatic like we've discussed, or even something completely different. Help me make a decision. I need the help. It's taking too much of my time. I want to get back to actually planning the things that I want to see while in Italy and not worry about the gear. But that's all the time we got for this episode of the vlog. But as always, create, share, and sustain the life that you want. Get out there and make some awesome work. Thanks, guys.